Hi guys. So today we have Dr. Bhumika Shankar with us today, who is a physiotherapist. So welcome to the channel, Bhumika. First of all, hello, hi. How are you doing today?
Hi Bhavna, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good too. So weekend, I see you're currently at your house.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So weekend off, is that all, or do you have plans?
Yes, usually on Saturdays and Sundays I tend to take leave because those are the 2 days
Okay.
that I give it to myself.
Okay,
Yes.
got it. Understood. So let's get started with today's episode. It's going to be a very exciting one because this is something we normally don't really do a lot on our channel, right? It's the first time we have a doctor on our channel, so I'm very excited and I look forward to like having a conversation with you, right? So yeah, let's get started. And so to start with, can you please let us know, like, as a physiotherapist, what do you do and how does a day in the life of a physiotherapist look like, and can you like shed some light on where you studied and like introduce yourself to me and the audience.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm Bhumika.
Hmm.
I'm from Bangalore, of course.
Right.
So before I tell you about how a day in my life looks like,
Mm-hmm.
I would just want to tell you how physiotherapy started or how the journey of me wanting to be a physiotherapist started. So back in 2018, that's
Right.
when I finished my 12th,
Mm-hmm.
and we were looking for a lot of things. I mean, we're from a typical Indian family where it's you either want to become a doctor or you want to become an engineer, right?
Right.
So in my life it was something similar, but I was very sure that I did not want to be an engineer. I was
Right.
very sure.
Right.
And from the beginning, I've always had this affinity towards biology,
Mm-hmm.
zoology, to be more specific. And
Mm-hmm.
I always loved learning more about chemistry and biology,
Mm-hmm.
and a little bit of physics, of course.
Right.
So yeah, that's how it started. But 2018, when I gave my NEET exam,
Mm-hmm.
I scored pretty well. I mean, I passed through the NEET. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I think all everybody who wants to get into MBBS, that's what they do.
Right.
So that's what I did because that was my dream,
Right.
right? So back in 2018, when I didn't get through medical colleges,
Mm-hmm.
I was a little confused as to what exactly is supposed to be done and all that. But I come through a sports background. Like,
Right.
my dad has been a boxer. My brother is a national level kickboxing champion as well. He's a pro belt holder.
Mm-hmm.
So I have always seen how he always keeps going to physiotherapist to fix himself.
Mm-hmm.
Every single thing he says, he has a shoulder pain, he goes to a physiotherapist. He has a fracture or he has something else, it's of course the physiotherapist that he meets, even even after he meets the orthopedician, or before, sometimes even before meeting the orthopedician, he used to go to physiotherapist, right?
Right.
So 2018 is when a lot of things changed, and where I got into learning mixed martial arts and all that.
Right.
And that's how I started connecting and understanding how it would be helpful and how interested I was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I decided that I should be taking up the course, and
Right.
yeah, here I am. I love doing what I am doing.
Got it. Understood. So for all the audience, like who don't know what exactly is physiotherapy, or what exactly a physiotherapist does, like can you
Mhm.
help us understand that?
Yes. So, what I would say is, if you've looked at a doctor, a medical doctor,
Mm-hmm.
he is somebody who gives you a lot of medicine,
Mm-hmm.
who helps you fix a certain thing which is physiological, right?
Right. Right.
But when it comes to physiotherapist, he's fixing the way you're living your life.
Okay.
It could be the way you're walking, or the way a certain thing, a certain movement that you're doing is not right.
Mm-hmm.
We fix that.
Right.
So basically, there's even a saying, or there's a very small quote that comes to my mind when we're talking about this. The doctor, let's take up surgeries for that matter. Very small example.
Right.
Say a doctor is helping the patient by performing a particular surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Post the surgery and before the surgery,
Mm-hmm.
the journey that the person goes through post surgery or before surgery,
Mm-hmm.
a physiotherapist is always with him,
Right.
right? So
Right.
it could be, say, the second day or the first day after a particular surgery. It could be any kind of surgery for that matter.
Mm-hmm.
Physiotherapy comes in a lot of aspects. It could be as a chest physiotherapy, as in that is related to cardiopulmonary
Okay.
physiotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it comes to anything related to bones and muscles, we have musculoskeletal physiotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we have geriatric physiotherapy, which very particularly looks at how you should be treating or how you can help the elderly population.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is something called neurophysiology, so
Right.
neurophysiotherapy. Uh, so there again, we will be looking at neurological conditions that would require physiotherapy.
Right.
Then pediatric physiotherapy, where you would be looking at how you would deal with a infant from infant to about 12 to 15 years of age, how you would treat a particular patient or a baby with a certain problem that they have. And of course, we have sports physiotherapy that is pretty much booming. If you've been following up with a lot of sports person here and there, you would
Right.
definitely know how they're talking so much about the physiotherapist. Or
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking at if you if you look at the recently played IPL match, women's
Right.
IPL match,
Right.
RCB,
Right.
how when they won, how they gave their credits to how the physiotherapist helped them throughout the journey. So yes, that's a very small bit of it.
Okay. Understood. So, from what you just told me, I understood that everyone actually needs a physiotherapy if they're like going through some kind of a pain or a surgery, right? But I think this is not something a normal Indian family would consider. For example, you just mentioned that infant physiotherapy, right? So I mean, I think at least it's not very familiar with like the Indian mindsets that a young kid would like require physiotherapy. It's always seen like, yeah, you're so young, why would you need physiotherapy? Like what's wrong with you? Like why would you need physiotherapy? It's not like it's always like neglected, right? So what are like the important things of like getting through physiotherapy, or what are like the disadvantages if you like skip that step during your recovery process, right? So can you like let us know about that?
So speaking of Indian family or Indian household, when it
Right.
comes to the Indian household,
Mm-hmm.
what happens is that when you talk about a physiotherapist,
Mm-hmm.
the first thing that comes to their mind or that strikes their mind is, oh, you do massages, is it?
Right.
That's a very, very common way of
Mm-hmm.
addressing a physiotherapist according to the Indian household.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think they should get into a point, or they should understand that masseuse are not physiotherapists.
Right.
As physiotherapists, we do a certain, we study a lot related to a lot of human parts or how a particular person is supposed to be treated, right?
Right.
But when we come to a person who is giving you massage or a masseuse, that's a complete different story. But I think in Indian household, they don't really try to draw a difference between how that works and how
Mm-hmm.
physiotherapy works.
Mm-hmm.
Now, coming to the question that you asked, how skipping physiotherapy can, or what are the disadvantages that a person would face if
Right.
you do not take physiotherapy?
Mm-hmm.
It could be whatever condition it is.
Right.
So I think giving you an example would be a better thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just say
Mm-hmm.
a person, a person who has a certain problem. Say, let's just say a person has
Mm-hmm.
low back pain.
Right.
The person has no idea what a physiotherapist does
Mm-hmm.
and directly goes to a doctor, right?
Right.
So when the person is going to the doctor would give him a certain medicine depending on the test that he does, and
Mm-hmm.
there are a few assessments that he will have to look
Right.
at as well.
Correct.
That's something related to them. So yeah, when they do that, the doctor would most certainly give you something called muscle relaxant.
Right.
I think that's a very common thing that every single person would be taking. Say you have a little bit of pain because of a little bit of exercise around, or a little bit of, a lot of work that you've done throughout the day, something like that. The minute you have a pain, people say take MR, take muscle relaxant. So once the effect of the medicine is over, say after a certain duration of hours, when the effect of the medicine is over,
Mm-hmm.
you usually tend to get the pain back,
Right.
and you start thinking about what is wrong, why isn't it happening, what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
So there could be various reasons why that is happening. One small
Right.
example is very small thing,
Right.
because say if you are a person who is used to sitting for a long duration of time, or
Mm-hmm.
somebody whose work itself is just to sit in front of the laptop and do a lot of work,
That's so
there's
me.
nothing else the person
Right.
can, right? So the main reason why the person can have back pain is because, very simply, it could be because of the hamstring tightness,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Or because of the posture that they are taking while they're sitting. It could be because of that. So
Right.
simplest thing to do, very simple thing to do when
Mm-hmm.
you have a back pain is just to release your calf, release your hamstring, release your quads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once that is done, you would definitely see a betterment in the pain that you have. So
Okay.
instead of taking a lot of medicines and dealing with a lot of side effects that
Mm-hmm.
the medicines give you, start doing something which is physical.
Mm-hmm.
Start doing something related to your body instead of taking a lot of things inside.
Mm-hmm.
Try doing, it could be stretches or strengthening or something like that, and the pain should automatically come down. That's one small example how I would like to explain this.
Okay, understood. I mean, I think I can relate to the example you just gave, right? Like for someone who is like mm, most of the day I am in front of the laptop, and I mean, lower back pain is an issue, right? So I think whatever you just said does make sense actually. And maybe after this video, I just have to like take an appointment with you, I guess.
Totally, yes.
So at this point of time, right, where there's like Gen Z and there's us and all that who are like doing a 9 to 5 job and people are working from home, and where the lifestyle itself is not that great and is not very active, right? And because of which there can be like issues that might have already started to show up, or there might be issues that can like come later in the life or whatnot. So what do you have to say, like for somebody who is physically not very active, as a physiotherapist, what do you suggest is very important, otherwise there are going to be consequences?
There will definitely be consequences once you start getting used to a certain thing which is inactive.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, in the longer run, there is definitely going to be, an ill effect, I
Right.
would rather call it.
Mm-hmm.
So, if the person is somebody who's working from home,
Mm-hmm.
then probably say every 1 or 2 hours, the person should just walk around the house,
Mm-hmm.
or just do a few lower back stretches, few of the lower limb stretches,
Mm-hmm.
few of the upper back stretches. And another thing I would like to add is that a person who's sitting constantly doesn't only necessarily need to have low back pain. The person can have a very bad neck pain as well.
Right.
If you've heard about something called forward headed posture, that is the what happens in that posture is the person's head, I
Mm-hmm.
mean the head until the neck,
Mm-hmm.
tends to protrude front,
Okay.
right? So there,
Okay.
there are various exercises that you would
Mm-hmm.
necessarily have to do, because
Mm-hmm.
it as important it is for you to work, it is also very important for you to work on yourself, right?
Right. Right. Right.
Work on your physical fitness, or work on your body as well. So that's really important for you to do.
Right. Got it.
When it comes to consequences or ill effects, like I earlier mentioned,
Mm-hmm.
like I said, lower back pain. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that lower back pain that just started to be because of a muscle tightness
Mm-hmm.
can start becoming a very bad effect later on.
Mm-hmm.
So, what exactly can happen is, once you start having a particular posture,
Mm-hmm.
you tend to get used to the same posture. If
Right.
you've seen a lot of people having protruded belly out,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't necessarily have to be. If you've seen, the
Mm-hmm.
person who is pretty thin and has good posture also will have a protruded belly.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily because they've gained weight.
Mm-hmm.
It's because of the posture that they've started getting used to,
Right.
right?
Right.
So what happens is when your spine, the curvature of your spine
Mm-hmm.
starts, when the curvature of your lower back starts increasing,
Mm-hmm.
you automatically tend to put more weight towards the front of your body.
Right.
So that's one major thing. If you've noticed people around, that's one major thing.
Right.
Another thing that can happen related to lower back pain is people can start having IVDP, which is also called a slip disc,
Okay.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So this slip disc can lead to a lot of things, which
Mm-hmm.
can be radiating pain. This slip disc can again, turn into it being a sciatica, or
Mm-hmm.
this can be cervical radiculopathy, lumbar radiculopathy. So there can be a lot of effects,
Mm-hmm.
or a lot of ill effects for that
Right.
matter.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so right now that was very informative. I mean, I personally now I understand like the importance of posture and all of that, right? Okay, so moving on to the next question, right, Bhumika. So there might be a lot of people out there in the audience who are like looking at this video and who are like still maybe in their 11th and 12th and like trying to figure out if they want to like get into medical and maybe pursue physiotherapy or maybe some other field, right? So what are some suggestions that you want to give them, like what should they like work on, or why do you think they should choose physiotherapy? For example, you said it's because in your household you saw like your brother being a lot into sports and seeing a physiotherapist, and that kind of like pushed you to pursue physiotherapy. So other than that, in the Indian market, right, where does physiotherapy stand? Like how good or wide is the domain, or what is the future scope for the field of physiotherapy?
Of course, there's definitely always, I mean, when you look at a particular medical field for that matter, there's
Mhm.
always development that keeps happening.
Right.
Right now, physiotherapy is in a place where it has improved and it
Mhm.
still has a lot of scope for improvement.
Right.
Back then, if you look at 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and if you look at physiotherapy now, of course, there's a lot of improvement.
Mm-hmm.
There are quite a lot of people who are understanding what physiotherapy is,
Mm-hmm.
and there are people who are coming to the clinics, asking for how we could do a certain thing, or
Right.
how we can make sure a certain thing does not happen, or yes, so that is how it has been now, right? Now, looking at it 10 years later or 10 years down the lane, of course, there's a lot of market. But I wouldn't say, if you are somebody who is looking, say, there's somebody who is just finished 12th, or somebody who is in the 12th and trying to decide as to what is supposed to be done
Mm-hmm.
in the future.
Right.
What I would suggest is, if you're somebody who really loves learning about human body, learning about how certain things work, and if you're somebody who likes fixing things, you should definitely take it up.
Right.
You should definitely take it up, right?
Right.
So if so yeah, if there's somebody who is really who has the affinity towards learning every day on daily basis, even after you finish your UG, PG, if you still have the idea, or if you still have the urge to learn, is when you would take this up. Because every single day, every single patient you meet, it's a new thing for you. You
Right.
learn, you always learn. Every single patient you see, you
Mm-hmm.
always tend to learn at least one bit of a new thing that you wouldn't have seen in the previous patient.
Right.
So if you're somebody who is ready to learn on daily basis, and if you're somebody who loves fixing things, you should definitely take it.
Okay. Got it. Understood. So a few more questions on the course of BPT, right? I think that's what it's called, right? Bachelor of Physiotherapy.
Yes, it's called, yeah. So of course, there's UG, PG, and of course PhD, as
Right.
we always know how the system goes.
Right.
So the first, that is the UG, is called BPT,
Mm-hmm.
or it's called Bachelor's of Physiotherapy,
Right.
right? And then further, when you move on, that is when you want to do PG, is when you know decide as to which specialization you want,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
When you're doing BPT, you're just learning as a overall as to what exactly is supposed to be done in general.
Right.
But when you get into PG, you start understanding how a certain thing can be done in depth,
Right.
right? Like I mentioned earlier, there are different specializations that a person can take once BPT is done, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like I mentioned earlier, it could be physiotherapy in musculoskeletal and sports,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be cardiopulmonary,
Mm-hmm.
or it could be neurophysiotherapy, it
Mm-hmm.
could be geriatric, it could be pediatric, it could be gynecology. Actually, in India, geriatric physiotherapy, there are very actually, I would say there are no there's no university which is providing geriatric physiotherapy as a specialization,
What
but
exactly?
pediatrics across.
Sorry to interrupt you, but what
Sure,
exactly is
please.
pediatric physiotherapy? Like, what exactly does it?
So, we know pediatric means something which is related to the related to the kids, right?
Correct.
From the day the baby is born
Mm-hmm.
until age of at least 15 years, the baby, technically that is how it is supposed to be taken. So geriatric means anything which is related to older population, elderly population. So
Right.
the study or the physiotherapy that you would be the type of physiotherapy or the ways that you would treat a particular elderly person,
Mm-hmm.
that's what is geriatric physiotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
But in India, I would nearly say there's no university which gives geriatric physiotherapy as a separate
Right.
course
Right.
for
Right.
PG.
Right. Understood. One more question I had and I wanted to understand is we do have, like, when you look at medicine, there's your normal MBBS, right? So how similar is a BPT course? Like, how many years do you have to study BPT, and how similar or different is it from your normal MBBS?
Well, there's definitely a lot of difference.
Mm-hmm.
So the first and foremost difference being that MBBS happens for about 5 years, right? I
Okay.
think we are all familiar with the number of years. So MBBS happens for 5 years.
Right.
PPT happens for 4.5 years. That is
Okay.
4 years of studying
Mm-hmm.
and half year of mandatory internship that you should be doing,
Got it.
right?
Right.
So only after you finish that mandatory internship of 6 months
Mm-hmm.
is when you actually get your certificate
Mm-hmm.
of you completing your bachelor's. That's the first difference.
Right.
Next, if you're talking about few more differences, the second and very major difference is that MBBS learns a lot in details about what we are learning in first year. So first year we have uh, we have biochemistry, we have physiology, we have anatomy, we have sociology, psychology, and we have biomechanics.
Right.
But the first year MBBS students, what they learn is biochemistry, physiology, and human anatomy. So
Right.
these are the three major subjects that they would be covering, but we would be covering about five subjects,
Mm-hmm.
which gives us a little more in detail about how physiotherapy goes on for us. So that's how that's the second difference. The third and another very major difference is that we learn pharmacology in our second year,
Mm-hmm.
but we do not prescribe medicines.
Okay.
If you're somebody who comes with pain to us,
Mm-hmm.
we would give you modalities. We would definitely reduce your pain,
Mm-hmm.
but we wouldn't give you medicine. So that's like, I think that's the major difference that we should consider when it comes to, the general public.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of the major difference that a person should understand when um, the person comes to a physiotherapist or the clinic.
Right. Right. Understood. Yeah, I think yeah, that's it for today's interview. It was very informative, right? I mean, I personally like learned a lot from, having this conversation with you, and I hope our audience also like had a lot of things to take away from this video, right? And one last thing, Bhumika, like for people who are watching this, right, be it the older generation or the younger generation, whoever, like what is like one physical fitness or be it anything, what is one related advice that you would want to give them, which is very important?
One thing you should always be sure of is that you're physically active in your younger ages.
Mm-hmm,
Like, say, at least until the middle age, if you're pretty fit and you don't have any of the health complications,
mm-hmm,
in the later, as in when you reach about the fifth decade, decade of your life,
mm-hmm,
you wouldn't have complications that people go through. It could be osteoarthritis, because osteoarthritis of knee, or
mm-hmm.
it could be severe low back pain, uh, in later ages or
Right,
in the fifth decade.
right,
So please make sure you are physically active,
right.
at least for about 45 minutes a day. I think you should at least give about 45 minutes of your day just dedicated to physical activity. It could
Mm-hmm,
just be walking, it could just be running,
mm-hmm.
or it could just be that you are using a skipping rope to skip for a certain counts. Make sure you're just at least a little physically active,
Okay.
because the smaller things that you do will have greater impact in the future. That's what I would like to tell.
Okay, understood. That's a brilliant advice right there. I mean, it's applicable to me as well, right? So, yeah, thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you today, and uh, thank you so much for taking out the time and coming on our channel to like talk to us and give so much information, right? It was very nice to have you, and it was very good talking to you, Bhumika. So, thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Okay. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you had a lot of information to take away from this video. And if you do like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and click on the bell icon for to get notifications. And in the description box, we have linked our Telegram channel. Do join to get more information and links to similar videos. And we will also like link Bhumika's Instagram account in the description. If you have any doubts related to what she does, please feel free to reach out to her. And yeah, that's it for today's video, guys. Thank you so much. Stay tuned. See you. Bye bye.